What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time to talk about the second studio album from LA rapper Earl Sweatshirt. The follow-up to 2013's Doris is titled I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. Getting into that album Doris, the debut that dropped in 2013, was a little bit tough for me. At the time I wasn't really covering rap on this channel, not very often at least. And I found it difficult to get into, but with repeated listens, getting ready for this review, I will say that it's grown on me somewhat. I do like the single Chum, and I found that it made getting into this new record a little bit easier for me. Earl has a certain darkness about him in terms of his lyrical content. He's not one to talk about pressing issues necessarily. He's much more personal, especially here on I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. I need to find out a good abbreviation for that so I don't have to say the full album title every single time I reference it. Instead of collaborating with a lot of the Odd Future members like he has in the past, I think there are some tensions there, so they are nowhere to be found here on this record, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any Odd Future members were involved here other than I think maybe Tyler the Creator had some backing vocals on one of the tracks. The majority of this record is self-produced, and it's definitely telling here for what he was going for. It's not a commercially appealing record. It's not something that sounds good for mainstream quality. If that's what you're looking for, a lot of these beats are just thick and grimy and kind of grinding throughout. And right off the bat, one of the lighter ones that does open up this record, Huey, kind of reminds me of something that I would find on maybe the Napoleon Dynamite soundtrack. I know that sounds really weird, but just kind of the upbeat synthesizers there that are so 80s-esque, it's the only description that I could feel fits. It feels like something that would instrumentally fit there or else at a baseball game on a Sunday afternoon. I like that because it's menacing lyrically and it kind of drags you down, but at the same time you've got the instrumental that kind of beefs you up, and so it's kind of hitting you from all different sides. So I found that that was one of my favorite tracks here on this record as I started getting into this thing. I mentioned Earl being kind of a dark rapper, and it definitely really starts to bleed out here on this album. I mean, all over the place he's talking about how long he's been kind of conflicted with these battling thoughts and this depression, and how he's kind of like staying inside all of the time, staying in his room, only seeing people when they come over to visit, not really reaching out to people, having trust issues with, and just really only trusting people as far as he can throw. As he says on one of the tracks, the guest features are kept to a minimum, and like I saw one comment say, it really feels like the guest features are someone like almost coming to check on someone that's just in this like solitary state, in solitary confinement, and checking to say like, are you okay? Let's bring a little bit of maybe a ray of sunshine here or there to this very dark record. Dark as it may be, some of these tracks definitely do hit. I mean, the lead single, Grief, is just one that really grips me. I understand that some of these tracks are going to be hard to get into, particularly tracks like AM Radio, minus maybe the Wiki feature on that one, and maybe even DNA and the Nickel feature. Those are two of the features that kind of, like I said, shine a light into the situation and seem to be a little bit more faster in pace and broaden the lyrical content and the topics that are covered on the record. But in terms of that track Grief I was talking about, it's just one that really sees a man wallowing in his own sadness, dealing with the death of his grandmother, some other personal issues. It seems like some relationships have gone sour, and he's addressing those right off the bat, even on tracks like Mantra and Faucet. I am enjoying both of those tracks to an extent, but at the same time, it just kind of brings me down, and it's just kind of one of those records that doesn't really leave you with a good taste in your mouth. You almost feel a little bit bitter while you're listening to this thing. I really like the connecting feel that these tracks have, though. I mean, tracks like Mantra have kind of a long instrumental outro on them, and it changes up the pace a little bit, and then that one bleeds into Faucet, and then at the end of Off Top, one of my favorite tracks that's only 1 minute and 45 seconds long, right around that mark, that goes perfectly into Grown Ups, which features the rapper Dash. It's an album that I'm finding needs to be listened to as a whole for me to really get a full sense of enjoyment out of it, and while I might not be loving this entire thing, it definitely works better that way. I mean, some of these tracks just don't really seem like they stand on their own. I'm finding that I'm enjoying some of the instrumentals more than I'm enjoying the lyrical content. That's true on tracks like AM Radio and even Wool, the closing track on this thing, which features Vince Staples. That's one of my overall favorites on the record, and while I do like what he has to say, it feels a little bit more especially from Vince Staples here on that one. They're discussing more things, not necessarily super upbeat and uplifting things, but at the same time, it feels like he's pulling himself out of a rut here at the end of this record, so I think that it's a satisfying finish. I'm really enjoying the instrumental on that track, AM radio as well, and off top, I kind of like the Oh Man sample, the vocals that are like found choppy all throughout that thing. Like I mentioned, a lot of these beats just feel very grimy and almost a little bit weak and vulnerable, but I feel like that only helps further what this album is going for. Now, I have mentioned kind of being, you know, kind of enjoying a lot of this stuff, and you're probably thinking that I'm really digging this, but honestly, with repeated listens, it just kind of brings you down. It's one of those albums that I feel like will get stale with time. I don't know how the shelf life is going to be for me personally. This is all just my opinion though. I'm feeling a 3 out of 5 for the new Earl Sweatshirt record. I don't like shit. I don't go outside, because clearly I don't either, because look how white I am. If you guys have heard the new Earl Sweatshirt record, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to smash the like button on this video, and remember that this is all just my opinion. Earl Sweatshirt turned out a darker record here than I was expecting. I'm not sure exactly what I would have expected, but it definitely puts you in some type of mood. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, and I think that the man is very talented and he shows that on a lot of these tracks, but some of them just kind of wallow in the middle of the road for me, so that's why I went with a 3 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing to the channel. I hope to see you back here very soon. I'm planning on covering the new Death Cab for Cutie record, maybe even We Are Harlot. If there are any other albums that I've missed that you would like to see me tackle, let me know about those in the comments as well. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon, right here on ARTV.